saw the sea attacking the rocks, somber and raging. From afar the waves gained momentum. High and proud they leaped, jostling one another to be the first to strike. When the white foam drew back, leaving the rock clear, they gathered themselves and rushed forward again. The other day I saw the sea calm and serene. The waves came from afar, creeping, not to draw attention. Quietly holding hands, they slipped noiselessly and stretched at full length on the sand to touch the shore with the tips of their beautiful mossy fingers. Grant that I may avoid useless attacks that tire and wound without achieving results. Keep me from these angry outbursts that draw attention but only leave one uselessly weakened. Keep me from wanting always, in my conceit, to outstrip others, crushing those in my way. Wipe from my face the sullen, subduing look. Rather grant that I may live my days calmly and fully, as the sea slowly covers the whole shore. Make me humble like her, as silently and gently as she spreads out, unnoticed. May each of my retreats turn into an advance. Give my face the light of clear waters, give my soul the whiteness of foam. Illumine my life, that it may sing like sunbeams on the surface of the sea. But above all, may I not keep this light for myself, and may all those who come near me return home eager to bathe in this eternal light.
Years ago, a very perceptive man, St. Francis of Assisi, said, "Grant that I may seek more to understand than to be understood." This is a beautiful awakening. As long as a man is preoccupied primarily with being understood, he is miserable. But as soon as he becomes concerned with understanding others, seeking to understand that which he had not before understood, a new attitude and change takes place. First, he becomes peaceful and relaxed, yet excited. He begins to catch a glimpse of another person. As he begins to understand others and others become interested in him, he opens up. And because he lowers his defenses, he is able to make himself better understood. And finally, he begins to catch a glimpse of who he really is. These are some principles that keep men from wasting their lives. Principles that begin to make man whole.
measured by an empty room, between heartbeats and paper prayers, or through a dusty window the light seen, kissing the particles and sliding down the wall to trip over a picture of trees and grass and fall sprawling across the bones of a wooden chair, splashing the floor with forgotten warmth and surprising the roaches playing king on yesterday's paper, and finally creeping across the dresser to bathe in a glass of bloody water next to an eyedropper and needle, 2 glassine bags torn and empty, and a bottle top still containing traces of yesterday's hope. There is no more. The door is locked. The bed is cold, and I am a number.
Just forget about them. Let them go somewhere and die. That would be the best thing for everyone. Life goes on anyway. Or, on the other hand, there are those who say, if he's a junkie and that's what he wants to do, far out. And if he ODs, that's far out, because at least he went out happy. But resting somewhere in the middle of all this, there are a few people who are committed to principles of the dignity of man. Those who would like to see all men, no matter who or what they are, find happiness and freedom. These people are rare. They are friends. Not everyone's friend, just your friend, with whom there is no pride and no weakness, just understanding and help.
know his secret. The weighty secret penned deeply across his face. How can it be carried by this young man with a childish face grown old too soon? I wanted him to tell it to me, to give it to me to bear with him. For long months now I have stretched my hand towards this young, crushed brother. Yet, each time he backs away. For in his hand he carries his secret, too heavy for him to hand to me. I am thinking tonight of all the isolated men, of all those who are alone, terribly alone, because they have never let go and been carried by anyone. Those who know something that others will never know, those who suffer from a sore that no one can ever tend, those who bleed from a wound that no one will ever heal, those who have locked in the terrifying silence of their hearts a harvest of humilities, despairs, and hatreds. These young brothers hurt me, but they are alone and will stay alone. For no one will ever be allowed behind that facade to free them.
Be afraid of vulnerability. Build your walls high. Be defensive. It's the surest way to smother in your own problems. This is a common philosophy in this age of numbers. In practicing this lifestyle, one will achieve loneliness and bitterness while one is still young enough to suffer with it for most of his adult life. The alternative is difficult at first, maybe even painful, because some people will see your weaknesses and the worst of it is, they won't care. However, that is their weakness. Try to relate to other people and see them as you want them to see you. This is the key to finding your friend. Not everybody's friend, just your friend. A person with whom there is no fear of sharing mistakes, because there is no fear of rejection. This friend is worth all the effort and even pain it may take to find him, because he is the key to the gate in your wall of defenses. There is a beautiful world beyond that gate that needs you.
Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the verities and realities of your existence. The bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is already a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day.
The guilt of past mistakes can haunt one every day. The fear of future mistakes can make anticipation of the coming day a torture. Some people go through life caught in a never-breaking cycle of hating the past and fearing the future. Unfortunately, all this fear and hate consumes the present like a starving animal devouring a piece of meat. All that is left are the bare bones of a boring life. Living is a drudgery, a chore that must be done all one's waking hours. For pleasure, one can indulge in a little self-pity now and then. What a waste. One can choose to make any change he wishes, just as he chooses to fear and hate each day. The past, therefore, is past. And if one's future is anxiety, then he has no future. The future is hope. The past is gone. One is alive, and he can only act right now, today. With this present action, he can correct the failures of the past and prepare for the fullness of his future. Today is your day. Not yesterday, not tomorrow.
He was in the middle of the street, staggering and singing at the top of his lungs in the husky voice of a drunk. People turned round and stopped, amused. A policeman came and silently from behind grabbed him brutally by the shoulder and took him to the police station. He was still singing, and the people were still laughing. As I watched, though, I couldn't laugh. I thought of his wife who'd wait in vain for him that night. I thought of all the other drunks in town, those of the pubs and the bars, those of the living rooms and cocktail parties. I thought of their homecoming at night, of frightened youngsters, the empty wallets, the blows, the cries, the tears. I thought of the children who'd be born out of drunken embraces. And now the night has spread itself over the city, and while the tragedies unfold, the men who have justified, produced, and sold it, that same night sleep in peace. I think of all those men and pity them. I think of all the others, the crowd of others who work to destroy and not to build, to stupefy and not to uplift, to debase and not to ennoble. I think especially of the many men who to feed a family have to work to destroy others, who to live must manufacture misery. I know they can't be kept from their work, that is not possible. But may they question it, may their sleep be uneasy, and may they someday learn how to fight in this world of disorder without destroying it.
See the drunkard of the village falling on the street. Can't tell his ankle from the rest of his feet. He loves his old laughing lady, 'cause her taste is so sweet. Yes, the old laughing lady, everything is alright.
The world is in such a state of disorder that many men, to earn a living, are forced to take part in work that seriously harms others. And the results of this sinister condition are easily seen in the lives of those whose work obliges them to steal and to lie, those who almost seem forced to become alcoholics and drug addicts. But just as true changes occur only when one seeks to change one's life, so a true turning back of the confusion and hurts of society is accomplished only when one works to change stagnated patterns that are inhuman. And this is the absolute duty of all men, from which there is no turning away. Unless, of course, you just close your eyes and hearts and withdraw.
Don't be angry with me any longer. or in your fury strike me again. My heart is confused. How long will it be so? For many nights I have made my bed to swim in tears. I am weary of groaning and tossing. Grief consumes me. My soul is being torn to pieces. Let this come to an end. Mischief has been conceived in me. I have dug a pit, and it has consumed me. My dealings have come down upon my head. Have mercy upon me, for I am weak. My bones ache as never before. Hear the voice of my weeping, and wipe away my tears. Who has woe? Who has sorrow? Who has complaining and wounds without cause? Those who tally long hours over wine, those who go and try various drugs. Your eyes will see strange things, and your mind will speak perverse things. Don't be envious of these men, or desire to be with them, for their minds devise violence, and their lips speak of mischief.
Everybody says that better days ahead. There'll be better words to say about tomorrow. Going back in time, I can see that man hasn't changed. Got too many names in games, blamed for his sorrow.
Were the 90s really gay? Or the 20s really innocent? Were there any good old days? Don't ask. Don't speak of years past with song and dance, or days when work was honest. For this is the day at hand. This is the day that is ours. And I perceive that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his own work. If we look to this day, our day will be envied.
Right or wrong, the actions of people in times past, in the good old days, have created the environment that one must live and grow in now. This can't be changed, however, for we are now creating the environment that future peoples will have to live and grow in. To live this day as best we can requires that we make and follow some guidelines. And we mustn't be fooled by temporal things that will turn to doubt later. That would create a future that would be no future. There must be a priority of values that are true and therefore lasting. And not someone else's values that one must compromise to accept. And not just history's values, relics handed down. But principles can be discovered by sensitive, aware observation of the world around us. The most important thought to keep in mind is to seek those values which are true. One is fooling no one but himself when he ignores the truth. The past has served a purpose, and the future is there to be used. Today is made from both the good and the bad of the past. To desire the past or to be frustrated by it will only destroy one's potential for making today an improvement over yesterday, whether it was good or bad. Many of our questions can be answered by the past, but we can only apply the truth we learn to today, one day at a time. That way, each day will be better than the last, and the coming day will always hold the excitement of new truth revealed and applied. Our first step to this growth is not to live today in resentment or want of the past, but for the hope of the future. Look well, therefore, to this day.
was hungry, and you formed a humanities club and discussed my hunger. I was naked, and in your mind you debated the morality of my appearance. I was imprisoned, and you crept off quietly to your cellar, joyful that you were not imprisoned like me. I was sick, and you took the time to tell me of the joy of your health. I was dying, and you carefully shared that it is a law of nature that some must live while others must die. You seem so pure, so close to perfection, but I'm still very hungry and very cold.
Ideas and programs are formed in the wombs of brilliant minds. The announcements are made, and all wait for that promise to spring forth alive. But when the appointed time arrives and the promise comes to the moment of birth, there is no strength to deliver. Hours and money and people are spent in an effort to gather up those helpless and to change them into worthwhile human beings. Yet so often as the programs are completed and the statistics are analyzed, who is it who really receives the benefit from all the time spent? This can be discouraging to those seeking help and to those trying to give help. However, hopefully some courage to continue this search will be gained by knowing that there are some workers who know that just any program isn't enough, but that there needs to be some source of wisdom and strength to deliver that life-changing key which will open up freedom and lead toward wholeness.
The father was shouting as the boy stumbled on the landing and the door slammed behind him. He had been punished. Suddenly aware of his disgrace, he rushed in anger at the unfeeling door. He slapped it, pounded it, stamping and shrieking. But on the wooden surface, not a fiber moved. The boy caught sight of the keyhole, ironic eye of that sullen door. But on peering into it, he saw that it was blocked. Then, in despair, he sat down and cried.
Thomas Merton wrote, "Love seeks one thing only, the good of the one loved. It leaves all the other secondary effects to take care of themselves. Love, therefore, is its own reward." Because some parents never learn this principle, there are many children who never receive those acts, which are a demonstration that there is a love active for their own good. Many people are completely stifled or hardened because an extremely authoritarian father was not interested in seeing his child develop fully, but rather desired for that small, immature child to act as a mature adult. Or even worse, an embittered father who chooses to make life miserable for his children because his life as a child was miserable. Or, on the other extreme, we see an over-permissiveness where children are never taught the discipline or responsibility, but only the motives of selfishness and conceit. We all think our theories are impeccably thought out, but if we ever stop to consider, perhaps we are more concerned about mending the chinks in our own theoretical armor than we are in judging our actions next to the greatest truth of all. Love seeks only one thing, the good of the one loved.
Love is the opening door. Love is what we came here for. No one could offer you more. Do you know what I mean? Have your eyes really seen? Do you know what I mean? Have your eyes really seen? Do you know what I mean? Have your eyes really seen? Do you know what I mean? Have your eyes
Words, 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 like harmless bullets fired at my brain. Big words, bad words, nice words, religious words, long words, lost words. I've learned the words and used the words and memorized the words until I'm full of words. They're plastered across my brain like stickers on a billboard. But they're only words, and I don't know what they mean or where they belong. I can't fit them into a conversation unless I'm swearing. Words are everywhere. People spit them out all the time, and most of the time they are totally wasted. There are millions of words spinning through the air, millions of sound waves crashing against each other and saying nothing. Is there one word, just one word strong enough to get through all the other words and reach me? Is there a word that can get under my skin and reach me and change me? Is there one word with a face and hands and power and life? One word that I can meet head on? Is there one word that will not fall through the cracks into my subconscious and die? Is there one word like that? One solid word? Is there?
Been coming down for a long time. Change is coming down on me. Can't seem to carry them all now. Been wishing there was someone else I could be. Hey now, who really cares? Hey, won't somebody listen? Let me say what's been on my mind. Can I bring it out to you? I need someone to talk to, and no one else will spare me the time.
Every person needs to find a lifestyle and ultimate purpose that will give them growing peace and happiness. This need is the need for truth. Truth that can guide one from day to day through a bitter and beautiful world without withering. One of the serious tragedies in our culture today is that many people, both young and old, have given up looking for the meaning in life. They've settled for shallow explanations of this meaning. The result is that men become disenchanted with seeking truth and settle back to a world of skepticism, pleasure, or material comfort. Others may become involved in the drug culture. However, without truth, no matter what alternative one may choose, the meaning of being fully and actively alive is subtly eroded away. One day, broken, we realize our emptiness. The truth is in you and around you. Just look for it.
Deliver me from my mind, for it is full of itself, of its ideas, its opinions. It cannot carry on a dialogue, as no words reach it but its own. I would like to get away, to walk and run to another land where I know joy exists. For I've seen it on singing faces, I've seen it in radiant eyes. But I cannot get away, for I love my prison even while I hate it. For my prison is myself, and I can no longer find that door. Take me by the hand. Show me my door. Show me the way. The path leading to joy and light.
Just a step, cried the sad man. Take a look down at the madman. Theater kings on silver wings fly beyond reason. From the flight of the seagull come the spread claws of the eagle. Only fear breaks the silence as we all kneel, pray for guidance.
Do you love yourself? To love oneself is not egotistical. Do you hate yourself? To understand that one has weaknesses and is fallible is not grounds to hate oneself. There is a sad awakening one day in everyone's life when they realize that they willfully refuse to do what is right, even when they want to do right. However, there is a beauty in that frailty, a common bond which ties all of us together, in that we all need help and understanding. That is where the good in all lies. It's in responding to the needs of others, whether it is just one person or many others. However, before we can love other people enough to respond to their needs, we must love ourselves, see our own individual worth. And one is made aware of his value when he is loved by someone else. And so it becomes a chain in which someone's love for you, in spite of your faults, makes it possible for you to love someone else, and so on and on. The path to joy and light in living is knowing the balance between self-love and self-hate, and being able to share that knowledge.
Why did you tell me to love all men, my brothers? I've tried, but I always come back frightened. I was so peaceful at home. I was so comfortably settled. It was well furnished, and I felt cozy. I was alone. I was at peace. Sheltered from the wind and the rain, kept clean, I would have stayed unsullied in my ivory tower. But you discovered a breach in my defenses. You forced me to open my door. Like a squall of rain in the face, the cry of men has awakened me. Like a gale of wind, a friendship has shaken me. Stealing in like a shaft of light, your grace has disturbed me. Rashly enough, I left the door ajar. Now, I'm lost. Outside, men were lying wait for me. I did not know they were so near. In this house, in this street, in this office, my neighbor, my colleague, my friend. As soon as I started to open my door, I saw them. With outstretched hands, anxious eyes, longing hearts, like beggars on church steps.
Deep sharing is overwhelming and very rare. 1,000 fears keep us in check. There's especially the fear that the other person will not sense the tremendous importance with which this memory or feeling is charged. How painful it is when such a difficult sharing falls flat, upon ears either preoccupied or mocking, ears in any case that do not sense the significance of what we are saying. But how beautiful, how grand and liberating the experience is when people learn to listen to each other. It is impossible to overemphasize the immense need men have to really be listened to be taken seriously, to be understood. No one can develop fully in this world and find a full life without feeling understood by at least one person. Misunderstood, he loses his self-confidence, he loses his faith in life, he is blocked, and he regresses. Here's an even greater mystery. No one comes to know himself only through introspection, only in the solitude of his personal diary. It is in dialogue, in his meeting with other persons. By expressing his convictions to others, he can become more deeply conscious of them. He who would see himself must open up to a confidant, freely chosen, and worthy of such trust.
which leads far out into the sullen night. Nor do I fear the rebel wind-tossed
sea that stretches onward far beyond the might of human hands or human loves. It is brooding, sharp-thorned discontent I fear. The nagging days without a sound of song, the sunlit noon of ease, the burden of delight and flattery. It is the hate-touched soul I dread, the joyless heart, the unhappy faces in the streets, the smoldering fires of unforgiven slights. These do I fear. Not the night, nor the surging seas, nor the rebel winds, but hearts, unlovely and unloved.
Youth is not the silly age, it's the splendid age. The age when a person's body and mind and heart begin to really function together for the first time. A time when he becomes aware of deeper callings, of ideals. A time when he begins to take action on those ideals. And yet, so often as he grows, thinks, and becomes introspective, his actions begin to be produced from anger, almost a hatred of those things that have mismolded him, used and abused him. Perhaps a drunken father, a smothering mother, maybe a corrupt society. And as he sees that more and more people have missed the mark in his life, he begins to act and react with anger and bitterness. And he has every right to be angry and bitter, for what he is seeing for the first time, all the hurts really are happening. But so many people are driven by hate. Young heroin addicts, driven to drugs because of a hate for their parents. Teachers who vent their personal anger by coloring their philosophies because of a dislike for their own mother or father. Young people who have to take to the road and cut all ties because they've never received any real love from anyone. For some, though, a breaking through all this bitterness happens one day. A new direction is discovered, where hate is no longer the driving force, where for once this person is attracted to action because it is positive, drawn to something because of an inner love and uplifting motive. This is the healthy growth, where hopefully parents or friends love him enough not to cling to him selfishly. He needs someone to direct his attentions away from the bitterness onto the new and clear road of positive action. Everyone needs that friend, that brother who will help him forget himself for a time, lest he become a slave to himself, incapable of loving.
be angry with me any longer, or in your fury strike me again. My heart is confused. How long will it be so? For many nights I have made my bed to swim in tears. I am weary of groaning and tossing. Grief consumes me. My soul is being torn to pieces. Let this come to an end. Mischief has been conceived in me. I have dug a pit, and it has consumed me. My dealings have come down upon my head. Have mercy upon me, for I am weak. My bones ache as never before. Hear the voice of my weeping, and wipe away my tears.
It's easy to love those who are lovely. The difficulty is in loving those who are unlovely. Usually it's the unlovely that continue through life emotionally starved, shriveling up inside to mere skeletons, while on the other hand the lovely may become emotional gluttons. How often people who desperately need someone to care for them find only cold rejection. A family which has chosen to abandon their son, demanding he never come home again because he was found to be a drug addict. And the boy, in response to this, becomes more hardened and bitter, ever more isolated and lonely. How desperately the boy needed their support, their love to guide him in finding someone or something to help him through his addiction. But he will not receive their love anymore, even though he needs it. Abandoning these people will not make them disappear. They also have love to give. They just need an example. They need that which will enable them also to grow into the beautiful creations they were meant to be. Those who are the most unlovely need the most love.
Who is this incredible creature called man, who can create books and dreams, triple stage his way to the moon, and photograph microscopic cells in vivid color? Who am I, that I not only create and dream and love, but find myself entering a tragedy, ripping holes in the fabric of my childhood dreams of justice and peace, participating in anger between loved ones, watching bigotry expand into violence, hatreds explode into wars. What terrible mystery am I a part of?
Mystery? What mystery? We are just animals on a floating chunk of Earth in a gravitational orbit in empty space. Just an accident. This philosophy, or lack of philosophy, is just a state of mind. It might be called general spiritual pessimism. It can be gained through the practice of one discipline, personal worthlessness brought on by a lack of ability to cope with problems, questions, mistakes, and guilt. And this will eventually weed out all the people around a person so that one can be surrounded only by those who feel as worthless as he does. Anyone looking with an open mind at the beauty of the world and the complexity of man knows that there must be more than just purposeless random activity on this earth, just for the sake of consuming energy. Nature does not work like that. The intricacy and flow of the design of all animals and plants, their adaptability, their natural extinction when their purpose has been fulfilled, these are clues that there is a plan and purpose. Our deepest need is to find more clues, and finally, the answer. We all want to be certain. We all want proof, but I fear the kind of proof we tend to want, based on a materialistic sort of science, would not in the long run answer the depth of our need at all. For what we want to know is not just a collection of cold scientific propositions, or a little list of unrelated rules which plot the steps on our road of life. What we want are truths that point in the direction of fulfillment here, while we are in the midst of our daily lives, moving through both the untold misery of humanity and the untold marvel of this world. Truths which are not subject to science or manipulated by philosophers, but rather which are the core and master of all thought.
like youngsters. I want people to be like them. I don't like old people unless they're still young. I want only youngsters in my presence. This was decided from the beginning. Youngsters twisted, humped, wrinkled, white-bearded, all kinds of youngsters. But youngsters, there's no changing it. There's room for no one else. I like them because they are still growing, still making mistakes, still improving. But with grown-ups, there is nothing to expect anymore. They will no longer grow, no longer improve. They've come to a full stop. It is disastrous. Grown-ups thinking they have arrived. Above all, I like youngsters because of the look in their eyes, for I know of nothing more beautiful than the eyes of a child. When pure eyes meet yours, they smile at you. But on the other hand, I know of nothing sadder than lifeless eyes. The windows are open, but the house is empty. Two eyes are there, but no light. And saddened, I stand at the door and wait in the cold and rain and knock. But he is still alone. He gets stout. He hardens. He dries up. He gets old. Poor old fellow.
Tis the gift to be simple, tis the gift to be free, tis the gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we are in the place just right, we'll be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we will not be ashamed. To turn, 'twill be our delight, till by turning, turning we come round, round.
Following high ideals is a way of life, a choice. We can either choose to succumb to the pressures of this world and begin that long trek toward emptiness and hardness, or we can choose to continue living in the strength of simple ideals like seeking truth or uplifting our brothers. What we need is for people not to abandon their ideals as youthful folly, but to improve them and cling to them even tighter, so that one day they too can be that old wrinkled man who in his lifetime of gathering found wisdom.